Tonight, we uncover the sunken fragments of ancient supercontinents, remote islands that break every rule of geography. New Zealand forms the highest peaks of Zealandia, a 4.9 million square kilometre continental fragment that broke from Gondwana 83 million years ago. Its crust is thicker and less dense than surrounding oceanic crust, with 94% of the landmass now submerged. The islands stretch from subtropical to temperate climates, featuring active volcanoes, fjords, and the Southern Alps. Unique ecosystems include ancient podocarp forests and flightless birds like the kiwi. Human settlement by Maori brought rich cultural traditions, while European arrival added colonial history, making this microcontinent a living bridge between ancient geology and modern identity. Madagascar separated from the African mainland 170 million years ago and from India 88 million years ago, drifting as a continental sliver on the Somali plate. Its spine is a rugged escarpment rising to 2,876 meters, flanked by eastern rainforests and western dry forests. The tropical climate produces distinct wet and dry seasons. Over 90% of its wildlife is endemic, including lemurs, fossas, and chameleons. The baobab trees and spiny thickets are botanical wonders. Human settlers arrived only 2,000 years ago, blending Asian and African ancestry, making this microcontinent a cultural and biological treasure. Sri Lanka consists almost entirely of Precambrian metamorphic rocks, including granulites and charnokites, recording high-grade metamorphism at temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius. The island rifted from the Indian plate during the Cretaceous and drifted northward. Its central highlands reach 2,524 meters, surrounded by coastal lowlands. The monsoon climate brings heavy rains to the southwest. The island's biodiversity includes endemic flowering plants and elephants. Culturally, Sri Lanka has over 2,500 years of recorded history, with Buddhist heritage visible in ancient cities like Anuradhapura, a microcosm of geological and human resilience. Socotra belongs to Yemen but lies 380 kilometers south of the Arabian Peninsula, formed from ancient continental crust that separated from the Somali plate 18 million years ago. The island features limestone massifs and Precambrian granite, rising to 1,503 meters. The arid tropical climate produces a stark, otherworldly landscape. Its extraordinary biodiversity includes 37% endemic plant species, notably the dragon's blood tree with its umbrella-shaped canopy. Reptile endemism exceeds 90%. Human habitation is ancient, with a distinct Socotri language and culture, making this microcontinent a living museum of evolution and tradition.
Sumba is a continental fragment that detached from eastern Sunderland during the late Cretaceous. Paleomagnetic data reveal a dramatic 96-degree clockwise rotation, 53 degrees between 82 and 65 million years ago, then another 38 degrees. The island sits in a Fourier position in front of the Sundarbanda volcanic arc. Its tropical savanna climate supports open woodlands with endemic bird species. The island is renowned for its megalithic tombs and traditional animist rituals, known as Merapu. This microcontinent is both a geological anomaly, a rotated sliver, and a living repository of ancient Indonesian culture.
Jan Mayen is an isolated island on the Jan Mayen Ridge, a microcontinental fragment formed by the Jan Mayen hotspot. Its bedrock is volcanic, dominated by the Beerenberg stratovolcano, which rises 2,277 meters and last erupted in 1970. The climate is Arctic maritime with persistent fog, strong winds, and permafrost. Vegetation is limited to mosses and lichens. The island hosts large seabird colonies, seals, and occasionally polar bears. There is no permanent population, only a Norwegian military and meteorological station. This remote outpost exemplifies the harsh beauty of polar microcontinents, ignored by most but geologically pivotal. Cuba is composed largely of continental crust, including granitic and metamorphic rocks from the Mesozoic era. It forms part of the Greater Antilles microcontinent, which was once connected to the Yucatan Peninsula. The island stretches 1,250 kilometers with mountain ranges such as the Sierra Maestra reaching 1,974 meters. The tropical climate supports lush rainforests and unique Cuban crocodile habitats. The island's geology records the complex collision between the Caribbean and North American plates. Human history is marked by indigenous Taino culture, Spanish colonization, and African heritage, making Cuba a vibrant cultural microcontinent in the heart of the Caribbean. The Dominican Republic shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti, both sitting on the Greater Antilles microcontinent composed of Mesozoic continental crust. The island features the Cordillera Central, home to Pico Duarte, the Caribbean's tallest summit at 3,098 meters. The climate varies from tropical lowlands to highland cloud forests. The diverse geology includes granitic and metamorphic rocks overlain by limestone. Endemic species include the Hispaniolan solenodon and Hutia. Culturally, the nation blends Taino, Spanish, and African roots, with colonial cities like Santo Domingo, the oldest European settlement in the Americas, adding historical depth to this rugged microcontinent. Jamaica is part of the Greater Antilles microcontinent, underlain by Cretaceous granitic and metamorphic basement rocks. The Blue Mountains rise to 2,256 meters, while the western interior features the unique Cockpit Country, a karst landscape of conical hills and sinkholes. The tropical climate sustains rainforests and coral reefs. The island's biodiversity includes over 200 species of orchids and the endemic Jamaican iguana. Human influence is profound. The Taino people were followed by Spanish and British colonization, and the island became a global hub for sugar and rum. Jamaica's microcontinent status adds geological intrigue to its world-famous cultural exports. Australia owns multiple submerged microcontinental fragments, including the East Tasman Plateau, a circular block of continental crust 2,500 meters below the Tasman Sea. These fragments rifted from the Lord Howe Rise around 83 million years ago. The region's bathymetry reveals extensive underwater plateaus, ridges, and knolls. The cold deep sea environment supports cold-water coral communities and unique benthic fauna. Though invisible, these fragments are geologically mapped and sampled through dredging. They are silent witnesses to Australia's separation from Antarctica, and their study helps reconstruct the ancient puzzle of Gondwana, a hidden chapter in the country's geological story. The Rockall Plateau is a large, submerged continental fragment located west of Scotland and Ireland. It includes the tiny islet of Rockall, a volcanic pinnacle, but the plateau itself consists of continental crust that separated from the Greenland-Scotland Ridge during Paleogene rifting. The area lies in the deep North Atlantic, with water depths between 500 and 2,000 meters. The climate is temperate maritime but extremely exposed. The plateau supports deep-sea coral habitats and is an important fishing ground. Politically, it is claimed by the UK, and its geological significance lies in understanding the opening of the Atlantic Ocean, a microcontinent that remains largely out of sight but not out of mind.
France administers the Kerguelen Islands, the exposed peaks of the Kerguelen Plateau, a large igneous province and composite microcontinent formed 110 million years ago by a mantle plume. The plateau contains fragments of continental crust that sank 20 million years ago, leaving only a few rocky islands above sea level. The climate is subantarctic, with strong winds, glacial ice, and tundra vegetation. Wildlife includes elephant seals, king penguins, and wandering albatrosses. There is no native population, only a rotating crew of scientists and technicians staff the research base. This remote French territory exemplifies how microcontinents can be both geologically monumental and humanly desolate, a frozen memory of ancient eruptions.
These forgotten lands remind us that Earth's story is written in stone, hidden beneath the waves and waiting to be told.